Hey folks, yesterday I did a video about a speech that Rick Santorum gave. Now in this speech, he sort of held up the way the settlers came into the New World, into North America, and did their thing. And he held it up as a virtue, right? The way they went about their life, the way they went about things, the reasons why they did things, the reasons why they came here, that was a virtuous thing, that they came here for freedom and for their faith. And it's still in our DNA. And in that video I said it is still in our DNA. We still act the same way that those settlers came in. That wasn't a good thing. It's a bad thing. We still treat people the way those settlers treated people. We still act with that same sense of superiority. And that is a very, very, very bad thing. It's imperialist. I didn't say everything that I wanted to say in that video. And I didn't say everything that I wanted to say in that video because I was angry. And I've found that when I do a video while angry about a particular issue, the video kind of goes off the rails and I don't make the point the way I want to make the point. You see, the thing that made me angry was the way he whitewashed the actions of those settlers. They came here and created a blank slate. That's a true statement. Because they wiped out an existing population. They displaced and destroyed existing nations that were already here. This wasn't an empty land. This wasn't an empty piece of property. They went, you know what, it'd be nice to build a house here. There was already a house here. There was already a village here. There were already families here. And when those people came primarily from Europe, in their quest for religious freedom, they destroyed what was already here. This wasn't a blank canvas. This was a canvas that already had a beautiful, wonderful masterpiece painted onto it. It was already a beautiful piece of artwork. And when those settlers came, they came with a very particular sense of superiority. And they just painted over everything that was here. And they did not care. As a matter of fact, they acted in ways that they didn't act in Europe when they were at war. The people they encountered here were considered less than. They were considered nothing. They were considered to be worthless. And that's how they treated them. And they did horrible things. They committed incredible acts of genocide. And we've continued to commit those acts of genocide right up till now. Because inaction can be an act of genocide as well. No, we may not be rounding anybody up. We may not be providing blankets covered in a disease in order to wipe out a people. In yesterday's video, I did describe that this is still in our DNA. And it still is in our DNA. And if we truly want to get past it, if we truly want to move forward, if we truly want to heal the wounds that have been caused over the last 500 or 600 years, then one of the things we have to recognize is in Santorum's speech, he actually tells us what the problem is. In his speech, he shows us how incredibly obtuse we are. He shows that we are absolutely obtuse to what happened back then, what happened in our past, what has happened over the course of our history here in North America, and what is still happening today. They came and created a blank slate. They built something from nothing. Well, yes, of course there were Native Americans here, but to be candid, Native American culture isn't really a part of American culture. That's what he said. He literally told us that Native American culture didn't mean anything, that it isn't part of what we are here in North America, whether it's Canada or the United States. He literally told us that it was something that was discarded and never learned from. And by doing so, he shows us that we haven't carefully explored our history. And this is why it is part of our DNA, and it is why it will continue to be part of our DNA. If we truly want to remove it from who we are, we have to be willing to explore it. We have to be willing to examine it. We have to be willing to see it for all that it is. In the church, when it comes to sin, for us to move beyond the sin of our life, we have to know that it's there. To know that it's there, we have to look at it. And it's the same for this generational sin. If we truly want to bring about healing, if that is a part of what we want to do moving forward as an incredibly diverse society that we are, we need to be willing to take a look at what has happened, what is happening, before we can move beyond it, before we can let it go. We have to acknowledge that it's there. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that with sincere hearts, we will offer ourselves to exploring what has been and what is being done. That we will offer ourselves to working with those who have been injured, to heal those wounds, however they may appear, whatever they may be. Amen.